Hey everybody. How's it going? How's y'all's days so far? It's been a bit of a wild one, hasn't it? I don't know if the couple of you that are here right now specific Oh, hold on. Did I y'all can hear me, right? I forgot if I switched my microphone over. Um I'm trying to pull up the PDF right now for the book. For some reason, my computer's been a little laggy today, and I'm hoping that doesn't affect the. I'm hoping that doesn't affect the stream too much. Oh, it needs access to Google Drive to open the file. I've given it access before. Why doesn't it? Why doesn't it like to stay accessed? Give access. Give. It says there are 3 of y'all here, and no one's even dropped anything in the chat yet. I don't know how y'all are doing today. Oh my goodness. One moment, please. There we go. Does that work? Will it let me pull up the PDF now? I'm feeling like this might be a less populated stream than usual because everybody's just busy doom scrolling over the election, and I don't blame them. I do not blame them. There's no reason that it should be as close as it is, and yet the opposition party fumbles again. My internet sucks at the moment, and I'm not getting much of what you say. Def on my end. Okay, well at least it's not on my end. I'm seeing that I'm having like 26% skipped frames. I appreciate the break from doom scrolling Twitter. Well, I'm glad to provide. A break from doom scrolling. Yeah, I'm Conga Wonga. I have I'm running the stream off of a what's it called? A Microsoft Surface, because I haven't owned an actual computer since like 2008, and I'm trying to remedy that right now. James has one that he's going to sell me, but he's in the middle of moving, and of course we're all in a pandemic, so it's been difficult trying to figure out. I guess logistically how to take care of that. Why is this not? It's just showing the PDF as a gray. Maybe if I refresh it. I'm wondering if maybe if I pause the music, it'll help things run a little faster. I don't know why like things have still been running slow. Oh Jesus! It just jumped up to 92% skipped frames. Usually it's not this bad. Let me see if I can figure out something on my end. I moved everything not too long ago to a backup hard drive to, give a lot more. Let me see. Let's end all of these background. It's a lot of Discord trying to. Let me try to rank things by the amount of memory that they're taking up, and then maybe I can see OBS, Google Chrome. I'm using those. Anti-malware, Windows Explorer. I don't know what I can and can't close out. Hopefully it's a little bit better. I don't know. Google Crash Handler. Let's get the Java update handler off. And iTunes. I don't use iTunes. Why is my computer trying to run iTunes? Megasync, I'm not using you right now. So many Google Chromes, and I don't know why. Like, I've got like 17 different things here saying that Google Chrome is running as background processes. So I don't. Bonjour, that's iTunes. Get that off. I'm trying to see, hopefully if I close out stuff running in the background, it'll install OBS, OneDrive sync engine. I think that might be the most I can do. As far as closing things to stop the buffer, but the book still hasn't even loaded. What the fuck? Oh, there it goes. There it is. I have the book. Let me turn the music back on. But yeah, we're going through chapter 9 and hopefully chapter 10 today. I think it's gonna depend on A, how bad the stream is, and B, the time. James put on the thing that I was doing chapter 9 and 10, and I don't think I had checked the page numbers beforehand to make sure that that I wouldn't be running a ridiculous amount of time. And I got up this morning to check them, and it seems to be that these might be longer chapters than the past few. Let me fit this to the screen. Wait, I'm skipping through pages. Where's the where'd the table of contents go? There's one page of it. There we go. Chapter 9. Hopping ahead. And let me see if I can turn this hide chat replay. There we go. Just bully some nerds into building a computer for you the way God intended. Honestly, that might be what I should do. But hopefully James and I will be meeting up in the next couple of weeks to get that taken care of, and once I have that, things should be a lot better altogether. And I'm very excited about it because I haven't had a computer, like I said, since like 2008, 2009. That's not like a tablet or a really shitty laptop. So I'm not used to what computers have been able to start doing within the past 10 years. And I think it'll maybe help me become a bit more productive in helping the channel with things. I don't care that I'm currently signed in as Matthew Washburn. Jump back over to the book. Okay, so we're on chapter 9. Let me hit the full screen on that. No, not edit mode. Where was full screen? There we go. Full screen. But yeah, I mean, despite the fact that, you know, it's all freezy and stuff, more or less, this is just kind of a read-through stream. So you don't really need me to not be frozen, right? Because so long as you get the pages when they're on screen, and you're able to hear me, then you get the gist of what's going on here. But yeah, so the last we left off, Harley has recently started working at Arkham, and she wanted to start a support group for female inmates, and Dr. Leland told her, "Yeah, go ahead." So now we're stepping back in on that. So let's just jump in. 2 days later, Harleen looked at the women seated in a small semicircle in front of her and wondered, "What have I done?" Well, she had asked Dr. Leland for Arkham Asylum's most egregious female patients, and Dr. Leland had obliged. Not that there had been a large pool to choose from. The criminal justice system sent fewer women to Arkham. The files for these women described their behavior as bizarre, grotesque, and seemingly irrational. With the emphasis on seemingly. It varied. Sometimes it was supposedly or appears to be, depending perhaps on how bad the evaluating physician's day had been. This was usually followed by a warning that the patient, though irrational, was capable of acting with it needed to know she wasn't the only tough customer in the house. At that moment, Eiley was making a big show of ignoring Harleen, turning away from her as much as her chains would allow, which wasn't a lot. That was actually a good sign. The more effort it took for Eiley to snub her, the more important she considered Harleen to be. It wouldn't be easy getting through Eiley's jungle of defenses to reach the real her, but Harleen had hope, which was more than she could say for the other three women. The woman to Eiley's left was Harriet Pratt. Like Eiley, she had a nom de guerre, March Harriet, but that was all they had in common. Eiley was independent, single, and proud of it. Pratt had willingly latched onto the Mad Hatter, a foul and caustic character that even other criminals couldn't stand. Harleen was baffled to what the woman saw in him. There was nothing gentle about him, nothing that suggested he might be affectionate. If Alice had met him at the Mad Tea Party, Harleen thought she'd have woken up screaming. And if Harriet Pratt had been there with him, poor Alice might never have slept again. At the bottom of the first page in Pratt's file, someone had scrawled, "Crazier than a shithouse rat." Dr. Leland strongly discouraged profanity or terms like crazy as unprofessional and grounds for a disciplinary note in the employee's record. Despite that, the notation remained untouched, although it could have been blacked out easily. Apparently, what it lacked in professionalism, it made up for in accuracy. Harriet Pratt's time in Arkham had taken a toll on her. Poor diet had dulled her complexion and thinned her blonde hair. Her clothing was loose and shapeless. Harleen wasn't sure if she was carrying extra weight or just had poor muscle tone from inactivity. Her file put her age at 35, but she looked 15 years older. Or that might have been the effect her scratchy speaking voice and the cringe-inducing Cockney accent she put on, calling everyone ducks or ducky or love. A little bit of that went a long way. Harleen thought unhappily. Somewhere in London's East End, a pearly queen was having nightmares. Pratt's accent and her exclamations of "Crikey, blimey, mate," was as abrasive as the Mad Hatter's ugly laugh. "Shiny, shiny!" piped up the woman in the next chair over. Margaret Pye was definitely going to be Harriet Pratt's stiffest competition for most annoying patient, Harleen thought. Everyone called her Magpie, and she was very much like her namesake. Anything that glinted, sparkled, or shone drew her eye, and once she fixated on something, there was no distracting her. She would go through anyone or anything to get her hands on it, and she was a lot tougher and meaner than she looked. So this is a lot of fun. We didn't get, despite having March Harriet show up recently in Harley Loves Joker and Batman: The Adventures Continue, we never really got much backstory on her in either. Periodic rewards. That and medication for her obsessive compulsive disorder would do her more good than group sessions. I'm wondering when we get to it. Okay, it's a couple pages off. I was looking for a page break, just so I wouldn't lose track of things for the notes. Unfortunately, Arkham's threadbare budget couldn't provide this kind of treatment for an indignant patient. If Margaret Pye had been high profile as well as dangerous, the board would have looked for a researcher with a grant to cover expenses. If she'd had a wealthy, prominent family making demands, the board would have hit them up for a hefty donation. But Magpie had been dumped at Arkham by another mental hospital after an unfortunate incident that had left 3 people dead. It had been somewhat shocking at the time, but not particularly memorable. The news had given her name as Poe, and no one, not even the hospital, had tried to correct it. She had no family of any kind, and apparently no friends. A scrap of paper clipped to her file folder noted her birth certificate was missing, and a replacement was on the way. But the note had obviously been there for a long time. No one knew whom to query as to why it was taking so long. Harleen felt for the woman. If she had an inadequate personality, it was only because she lived in an inadequacy. She'd been lucky not to have the serious health problems that often came with Turners, like heart and kidney trouble. Her worst misfortune was having a family who colluded with her agents and the studios to hide the whole truth about her condition from her for the sake of her career, i.e. for the sake of all the money she made. Well-known Netanyahus other than Benjamin, so I would have to assume that that's a reference to him, and I don't know why. Esther Netanyahu had been at Arkham even longer than Dr. Leland. Harleen liked her because she didn't seem jaded and cynical, but she was nobody's fool either. Keep your guard up, she told Harleen. They've got a lot more experience being them than you have being you, and they know it. Mary Louise suddenly began blubbering loudly. I didn't mean to do it, she wailed as tears ran down her face. It's not my fault. It isn't. I want to go home. Why can't I go home? I need to flip the page over. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna pop back into chat to see if you've said anything, Danny, or if anyone else has joined you in there. Oh, where'd it go? Sometimes my computer doesn't like give me the program bars. It crashed about 7 or 8 times now. Oh no, that's not good. Wait, what was that thing about Netanyahu? We have a character named Esther Netanyahu, and I don't know why. It's crashed 7 or 8 times. Jesus, man. That's if that's the case, then I'm just gonna do just the one chapter today, I think, because that's whack. Oy. That's a bummer. I'm seeing 0 viewers on my end right now. Danny, are you here? I'm seeing there were a lot of really bad frame skippings towards the start, but it looks like it's not anywhere near as bad now. It's disappointing. Oh, I just saw that you post another new thing in the chat. As I was switching. It's interesting, I guess, but yeah, I didn't hear most of that. God damn. Oh, that's a bummer. I need to get that new computer from James quickly. Let me see. Where was I? Okay, here we are. Here we go with the waterworks already, Pamela Eiley said, sounding world-weary and bored. I hate being near that brat. Can't somebody shut her up? Or aren't there any grown-ups in the room not chained to a chair? Now, ducks, said Harriet Pratt in her exaggerated accent. She's just a little girl. Like hell, Pamela Eiley caressed one of the vines in her hair. Harleen blinked. Had she actually just seen that vine curl itself around her finger? A real vine couldn't do that, could it? Tsk, language, love. Harriet Pratt waggled her finger at the other woman. There's children and ladies present, you know. Now everyone except Pamela Eiley was staring at her expectantly. Eiley was absorbed in a close examination of the ends of a lock of her hair. Harleen put on a bright professional smile. Since this is our first meeting, she said, hoping she sounded assertive rather than unnerved, I thought we'd keep things light and just get acquainted. Each of us can say who we are and mention one or two things about ourselves or that are important to us. Pamela Eiley never looked up. Is there anyone in this room, chained or unchained, who doesn't know who I am? Didn't think so. I need no introduction. A smart therapist never lets the patient drop the mic. A doctor at the hospital where she'd done her residency had told her that. You could tell us a couple of interesting things about yourself, Harleen said, defiantly cheerful, or that are important to you. Eiley let out a long, put-upon sigh. I prefer plants to people. Also, I don't like people anywhere nearly as much as plants. If you were expecting something about long walks on the beach, or my favorite food, or how I make it through every day here without slashing someone's throat, including my own, tough stuff. Aren't you a cheeky bit of rough? Harriet Pratt said, waggling her finger again. Harleen ignored her. Maybe it would be better to try this chapter again tomorrow and hope that it's less choppy. Maybe, but at the same time, I think we're like almost at the end of it. So I don't really, I don't know. I'm just gonna, persevere. On my end, it's saying that like the skip frames and everything aren't that bad. So I have no clue like what could be happening. Like I haven't had like really bad skipped frames since, on my end at least, since like 20 minutes ago, it seems. But if it's on your end it's still dropping, then I really don't know what to do. I just gotta imagine that the new computer would help. I asked James last week and he said give it a week or two. So maybe I'll hit him up after I'm off of here and try to figure that out. Where was I? Let's see. Harleen ignored her. Well, don't keep us in suspense, she said to Eiley. How do you get through every day without slashing someone's throat, including your own? The woman kept pretending to be focused on her hair, but Harleen caught the small movement of her eyes swiveling in her direction under half-closed lids. Pamela Eiley had glanced at her. It was a very brief glance, and she probably thought Harleen didn't know, but she did, and it counted. It's just that you brought it up, Harleen added. Now I'm curious. Pamela Eiley continued scrutinizing her hair in silence. Harleen was about to give up and introduce herself when Eiley said, I can't give it all up today, Doc. What'll we talk about next time? Gotcha, Harleen thought gleefully, hiding her smile behind the file folder. It's not my fault, Mary Louise insisted loudly, as if someone had claimed it was. Her tear-stained face was red and angry, and she was glaring at Harleen now, resenting the loss of attention. Harleen thought. The ex-movie star was still a diva. We was all framed, Ducky, Harriet Pratt said in cheerful agreement. Me, I was just minding my own business, not hurting a soul, going for a ruby down me local. Next thing I know, 2 John Ops are feeling my collar. They drag me in front of a judge who tells me I'm radio rental, and there's a flowering dell waiting for me in Arkham. Blimey! It's been good for just under 8 minutes now. Well, that's good. That's good, at least. Shiny, 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 Magpie yelled over her, staring hard at Harleen's throat, and Harleen finally realized she'd forgotten to take off her necklace. It was a simple disc with a caduceus on one side and the words primum non nocere engraved on the other. Her mother had given it to her when she had graduated from med school. Hurriedly, she buttoned the very top button of her blouse, hoping if the woman couldn't see it, she'd lose interest. But Magpie kept staring at her throat, as if she had X-ray vision. Harleen supposed a real magpie probably wouldn't have been fooled either, and made a note to take the necklace off before the next session. Okay, so there's a page break. We've got like 2 pages left. I'm gonna go ahead and drop some notes in the spreadsheet, because we kind of got a lot here. Let's see. So I think, of course, the big things is we have all the new women. March Harriet / what was Harriet Pratt? Oh, I accidentally capitalized A's where I wasn't supposed to. Then we have Mary Louise Doll, also known as Baby Doll. Geez, what was Magpie's real name? Margaret Pye. And then we had that Netanyahu doctor, which still just that's weird to me that they chose that last name. No new locations. We've still been in Arkham. Not really any new objects. Non-canon stuff. Let's see. Oh yeah, I forgot. I probably need to put Poison Ivy in there. And we got a mention of Mad Hatter. There's a couple non-canon things. Poison Ivy wears vines in her hair and can apparently control plants already. And then I want to say that the disease they said Baby Doll has is not the same as it is in the was it Turner syndrome? A rare term that keeps her from aging. Anyway, there is a condition that appears in women called Turner syndrome. So it looks like they're similar things. So it might not be enough to mark it as non-canon, but I will, at the very least, note it. some reason, is referred to as Turner syndrome rather than systemic hypoplasia. Her motives are also a bit different. Right, because in BTAS, her whole thing was going after her TV family, whereas apparently in this, her real family had been like hiding stuff from her and yada yada yada. Let's see, mentions of time. I know we got 2 days after chapter 8, and that's, what was the page? Page 70. And then we had March Harriet's, what, 35 it said? Yeah. Okay, March Harriet's 35, that's page 73. There was a couple things that seemed like they might be pop culture. Radio rental is capitalized, so I'm curious if that's... Maybe they were trying to make the character very blatantly Israeli. It's possible, but they didn't really do much with her yet at least, and I can't imagine that they're going to, just because, you know, the Arkham stuff is so small in the story of Mad Love. Right? Like they said, where is it? Where did she go? I don't know where she went to. Oh, there it is. Yeah, something one of the nurses had said came back to her then. Esther Netanyahu had been at Arkham even longer than Dr. Leland. Harleen liked her because she didn't seem jaded and cynical, but she was nobody's fool either. Keep your guard up, she told Harleen. There's no way that it's based off of this podcast, right? Radio rental, turn of phrase? Like, what does that mean? Okay, so it's just British slang. It's getting choppy again, like it's buffering heavily as I type this. Oh no. That's not good. It's probably because I'm switching back and forth between tabs and stuff. Well, let's see. That radio rental thing wasn't a thing. Realistic CGI animation, though, is mentioned on page 75. So let me put that in the non-canon. I assume that, like, in the 90s, they were just like, no, this is realistic on, like, whatever CGI they had back then, but it's not. So I don't know if that's enough to mark anything non-canon or not, but I think it's worth at least being like, this is part of, you know, everything that kind of compounds on each other. All right, let's get through these last 2 pages. You don't look like you've been sobbing your heart out, Dr. Leland said when Harleen dropped by her office afterward. Don't tell me it went well. It wasn't great. Harleen sat down on the leather sofa instead of the chair in front of Dr. Leland's desk. It was hard to get a word in edgeways because all the shiny and the sobbing denials, but it wasn't an extinction level event. Pamela Eiley spoke to me on purpose. Go to the next page. Thank you. Dr. Leland's eyebrows strained toward her hairline. Really? God's honest truth, Harleen said, raising her right hand. She wouldn't sully her eyeballs by looking at me, but she did address me directly. Never mind Poison Ivy. How'd you escape with your necklace? Harleen grinned. I buttoned the top button to hide it. Thought I was going to choke to death. Next time, I'll take it off beforehand. I'll have a written report for you tomorrow. Spoilers, Mary Louise still protests her innocence. And thanks to Harriet Pratt, I'm so tired of Cockney rhyming slang I could scream. I was tempted to tell her how we roll in Brooklyn, down on toity-toyed and toyed, you know. Instantly, Dr. Leland's expression turned serious. Never do that, Dr. Quinzel. I'm not kidding. She added as Harleen smiled, never play with them. It makes you look weak. And in Arkham, if you look weak, you are weak. If you need a rodeo clown, call an orderly. I mean it. Okay, no goofing around, Harleen said, shifting on the sofa. She'd felt pretty good about the session, and all of a sudden, Dr. Leland was chewing her out for something she hadn't even done. It's because she's the boss, Harleen thought, suppressing a sigh. People in authority were always reminding you they were in charge. If they couldn't get you for screwing up, they'd make you feel like you had. And there was never a rodeo clown around when you needed one. I got Pamela Eiley to talk to me without doing anything reckless or stupid, Harley said, hoping she didn't sound as defensive as she felt. I feel like that's something. Dr. Leland's severe expression softened. Just don't get too sure of yourself. This was only the first session. Patients here will try anything once. They wanted to see how you handled yourself. And believe me, they learned more about you than vice versa. When's your next session? I wanted to talk to you about that. Harleen sat up straighter. Originally, it was scheduled for next week, but I'd like to move it up to the day after tomorrow. If that's all right with you, of course. Dr. Leland grimaced. You can binge watch a TV series, but there's no such thing as binge therapy. It's not binge therapy, Harleen said, not entirely truthfully. We need to build up momentum. 7 days from now is a long time. It'll be like starting all over again, because we'll all be trying to remember where we were last time. Maybe that's not a bad thing, Dr. Leland said, but Harleen could see her wavering. However, I understand what you're saying. Reschedule for 2 days after tomorrow. Momentum's good, but so is getting a little distance on the previous meeting. Okay, 2 days after tomorrow, Harleen said, trying not to grin from ear to ear. Dr. Leland hesitated, gazing at Harleen with her head tilted to one side. Didn't your mother ever warn you to be careful what you wished for? Well, no. Harleen's smile was wry. At our house, we learned early on we couldn't get much of anything by wishing. Dr. Leland was unmoved. All the more reason she should have warned you. And that's the end of chapter 9. And we're coming up on the hour mark. So, I think that's, between that and the buffering lag that's, going a bit crazier today than usual, that's probably the place to stop. I'm gonna try to get in touch with James and see if and see if maybe we can work out getting that computer before next stream. But who is to say? Hopefully that'll work, and we won't have to worry about this buffer. Thank you, Danny, for sticking around the whole time, despite the fact that it was obviously a bit choppier than usual. if you want to go back and reread that chapter on your own time, I might just send you the PDF link. That way, you know, you're not feeling like you missed anything coming back. And since you're a regular, you know, you're here for like all of these, and I don't want you to be like, oh well, I missed the stuff last time. So you know, I guess if you want that, just hit me up on the Discord, and I'll pop it to you. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get off for the day. Clean up the house a little bit, stuff like that. Take care of some script editing stuff for James. But yeah, once again, thanks for sticking around. I'll be back next week. Hopefully with a better computer by then. We'll see. But I'm outie. Take care.